here they are. They are encouraging us. They are giving us messages. They are cheering us on, and they are there for us, and they want us to know them. And as we get to know them, we will learn more about ourselves. We will learn more about our purpose in life. We will learn more about our family in general. So I love this quote by President Joseph F. Smith, who was one of the presidents of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he said this: "Our fathers and mothers, brothers, sisters, and friends who have passed away from this earth may visit their relatives and friends upon the earth, bringing messages of love, warning, reproof, or instruction to those they had learned to love in the flesh." How amazing is that idea, to think that, first of all, we are not here alone, but we have family members who are there for us, who want to give us messages, who want to warn us, give us instruction, and help us. And they want to be found. They want us to know them. Have you ever felt the pull of your ancestors? Here's a quote that I love by Linda Hogan, and it is, "Suddenly all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say, watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands." So many of us have felt that pull of our ancestors, or a desire to do our family history, a desire to know more about where we're from, what has given us, what have our ancestors given to our makeup, our emotional makeup, our physical makeup, intellectual, spiritual. And so here they are, and you can see that they all have a piece to share to the whole that we are. So there have been many lectures and talks given about promised blessings from family history. I will just list a few here. Look at all these blessings that we can have if we do our family history. Power to learn, increased joy in every other aspect of our life. And I can testify to that. And really, that if I only read that one, who cannot use a little increased joy in every other aspect of our life? Forever linked together with our family, a true witness of the afterlife, increased testimony of the Savior, a more meaningful patriarchal blessing, if you have had one, protection from the adversary, power to be sanctified, power to repent, and power to withstand temptation. So these are just a few of the promised blessings. But again, let's just repeat and look at that second one: increased joy in every other aspect of our life. So I love that as I do family history, I do feel happier. I feel like there are others who have gone before me who want me to succeed, who are there for me, and it definitely brings comfort and strength to me. So when we plant our family tree, we're going to think of it like we're planting a garden. And this picture right here, we had a Norman Rockwell picture book. And as a little girl, I remember this was one of my favorite pictures. And I would often open it up to this page and look at this picture. You can see at the very top of the tree, there's a little boy. You see his parents, you see his grandparents, his great-grandparents, his great-great-grandparents, and so forth. But look at this tree. How many of these people look like that little boy, or even his parents? There is such variety. There is color. There is interest. There are stories to tell. As I look at these pictures, I want to know their stories. And I think if we could look at our family trees in this way, we would be a lot more excited to learn about our ancestors. What are their stories? And I have found some pretty interesting characters in my family history, just for your information. So it's fun in that aspect, that you can see your family is interesting. But first we have to plant a seed. And if you are watching this class, likely you have got that seed. You have a desire. There's something in you that wants to learn more about your family and family history. So we need to water the seed, which is praying for help and direction and being organized, I might add, and then fertilize the seed. Learn more about family history and get your hands in the soil. Now, when we think about that, we think there are so many ways that you can do that, get your hands in the soil. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So when you're thinking about starting family history, the most important thing to do is get your information into Family Tree. Family Tree is part of FamilySearch. FamilySearch is the website, and the Family Tree is the giant worldwide tree where all of humanity is working together to make one tree. And I love the thought of that, is that we are all part of the same tree. And listen to this. It says, we are working together to create one pedigree of the human family, regardless of religion, nationality, or location. So our world is one big family tree, and the goal for Family Tree is to get one complete, accurate record for each person who has lived on the earth. Now think about that. Link to other records by correct relationships. So obviously we are quite a ways off from having this done, but every little person that you can add to the family tree, you are growing this tree and making it stronger and making our whole entire family of the earthly family stronger and together. So just a little bit of an explanation about FamilySearch, Family Tree, how it's designed is anybody can add or change almost anything. There are some things that are blocked off that you cannot change. The system will not let you change. But pretty much you can put anything you want on there. And you can make up a bunch of things if you wanted. Now, of course, we don't want to do that. Our goal is to have accurate information in Family Tree. So we want all the information to be supported by trustworthy sources. And the best trustworthy sources are genuinely original documents or secondary documents. So copies of birth certificates, death certificates, military records, and things like that. And sometimes that's really, really hard to find. So then we have to lean upon other sources. So when we get started with family history, first, we're going to start with ourselves. So here are 3 things that you and we are going to do when we start with family history. We're going to record what we know. So what do you know? We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Oh, and also if you have any questions, please ask in the Q&A. If you look in this presentation down, you will see there's a question and answer. And my daughter Emma is here and she will be answering questions for you. So we're going to record what we know. You're going to get a pencil and paper out or do it, a Word document, however you are most comfortable. If you have a hard time writing, then you can record it with your voice. So you have a lot of options. The second is to gather documents you already have, and these can be paper or digital. And then you're going to ask family for help. So asking family for help is really, really important, and we're going to discuss that. So first, we're going to start with record what you know. Now, how are you on this? What are the full names of your parents? So you can either think it, you might want to grab a pencil or a pen and paper and write that down. But pretty safe to say that most of us can record the full names of our parents. Can we do the birth dates? Can you record from memory the full names of your parents and their birth dates? So probably most people are doing pretty good here. Now we're going to go a level up. What are the full names of your 4 grandparents? Can you record just their names from memory? Now, what about their birthdays? That is not very far away from us. Our grandparents, most of us knew our grandparents. And as you can see, at least for me, even though I do family history a lot, it can be a little hazy. It takes a little bit of effort, even with my grandparents. Okay, what are the full names of your 8 great grandparents? And bonus points for if you know their birthdays, any of their birthdays. But can you record the names of your 8 great grandparents? If you can, I would just love to know if you can do that. And as you can see, these are people who are directly related to you. You have their DNA within you. You have qualities that they pass down to you in you. Maybe you share a talent with one of them. Maybe you share an interest. Maybe you have one of their noses. Maybe you like the same type of books. But these people are what have made you who you are. Okay, so we're going to link this in the chat. So you'll just go to the chat and you should find, in just a minute, you should find this. But this is the way I recommend that you start with family history. Even if you already have a pedigree chart, most of us do, I suggest that you get a fresh chart and fill it out first of all, by just memory. How are you doing with memory? So I'm guessing that most of us are going to have a harder time with our great grandparents. So, and this link that we are going to share, this is on FamilySearch. If you go to the FamilySearch website and just type in the search box, use appropriate forms, it will bring up all of these forms. What I like about the pedigree chart is you can see your family right there on one page. And of course, this is just for generations, but then from that, you can do more. But just start out by writing out what you know. And as you do that, how do you feel? Do you feel like maybe one of those relatives needs to have more information? What information do you have? Do we have all of their birth certificates and death certificates and marriage and births of children? So there are so many things that we can do just checking to see if we have this information. Now, if you have not started family history, or your tree is just a little sprout, which is just fine, or even a seed, this is where you can comb your house and look for documents that you have. So if you have a birth certificate or a copy of a birth certificate, you can say, oh, I know that my grandmother was born December 6th, 1923, which happens to be when my grandmother was born. So that is where we take the documents and we start filling in the spaces. What information do you have? Okay, so we are going to pause 1 second here. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, everyone. My daughter has just told me she does not have access to answer questions. So that's okay. One of the missionaries, I'm sure, who are wonderful, can answer your questions. So, okay. So we filled out a pedigree chart. Just that is the general 4 generations of our family. The second is a family group sheet. We can fill one of these out for each of the couples on our pedigree. So on your pedigree, you have yourself, your parents, your grandparents, and your 8 grandparents. So for all of those couples, we can fill out a family group sheet. A family group sheet just tells us information about that nuclear family. So here we have the husband, the wife, the children. And with the children, we want to get their information. So I know a lot of times it's easy just to focus on our direct line. For instance, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. But think about those relatives that are possibly missed. So what about my grandmother's sister and my great-grandmother's sister? Or, it can go on and on. So here we have this little chart will help us, just if we're starting with our 4 generations, to see where are we missing information. Now, with starting family history, I recommend filling this out with each couple, and then taking a little highlighter and highlight, what are you missing? What information do you need to fill in with for your family tree? Okay, this is just an example of a research log. And I like to keep a research log. I'm not always good at it, but it is so helpful when I do, because many times I will find myself searching for a certain information about a certain person. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, I will go back and research that same information because I forgot that I already checked a website or a record. So this is an example of a research log for each person. As you can see, you put their name on the top, and down here, basically you're writing the date, where you looked. So it's saying location or call number. You can see this is kind of old. Most of us are looking online. So, you can write in there instead. You could write FamilySearch or Ancestry. And then you can write, if you find a record, what is the source? So what is the title of the source, and what are comments? Now, this is the important thing. What information did you find in there? And here you can write little interesting things that don't seem important. But for instance, I found one of my great-grandfather's military records. And so I would write here the date I found it. I found it on FamilySearch. And the description was, United States military record, Army, and then his company and all of his rank. Comments, I love finding out little things like, it said that he was of medium build with sandy brown hair and gray eyes. So something simple like that, when you add that to a person's profile and put that up in FamilySearch, they become a little more of a person rather than a name. So I love finding little nuggets like that and saying, oh, well, I have gray eyes and I have hair the same color as this person. It's just interesting to me to find that. And so this is where we put the information that we found, whatever you found out. And it's really helpful because new records are coming out all the time. That's why we need to keep going back and searching. As they're being indexed, they are putting it up on the websites like Ancestry, FamilySearch, and MyHeritage. And so sometimes you will wait a while and go back and you will find new information. So that's why it's really interesting to keep a log, and it's important so that we don't go back and find and reinvent the wheel. Okay, gathered documents you already have. Now, look at this beautiful marriage certificate I have, and I think it's a I don't know if this is the official certificate, but it's more of a decorative thing. But this hung in my grandparents' home, and I have loved it for years. And when my grandma passed away, and then my grandfather, my aunts and my mom said that, oh yeah, I could have it. And I was amazed because to me, I think it is so beautiful. Why would anybody give this up? But this, not only is it beautiful, but it tells us who was married, and it tells us where they were married, who married them, who were the witnesses, the county, and it gives us, so we can find so much information on this document, which was just a little picture hanging up on the wall, but it is very, very valuable in terms of family history. So I am sure that as you go and gather all of your history into one place, records and information, that you will find some gems like this. Okay, so remember I started talking about my grandma in the beginning, and that's where Ask Family for Help comes in. So like I said, I have a 90 grandma that can still tell me about her family. And that is pretty lucky. But I also have aunts and I have uncles. I have cousins. I have extended family that I can ask. And I encourage you all, if you do nothing else but learn this from this class, it is ask questions to the oldest family members that are still living. And I guarantee you'll be so glad that you did it. You can go online and Google interview grandparents or interview older relative family history, and you will find all kinds of forms. Also, you will, if you do interview family, you will, on FamilySearch, if you search that, you will also find forms. So there are all kinds of things. And I find that as I do this, I ask more questions. I found out such interesting things from my grandmother. One of my great uncles ran away with the circus because he was sick of working a job and he thought a circus would be easy. Well, he came back later, but I've learned many, many things by just talking to them and writing that information down. So run, don't walk to your oldest relatives and ask them questions, because they are the ones. And the questions I find helpful are not when were they born, although that is important, but I like to ask questions such as, what were they like? What did you do with them? How did they make you feel? What did you admire about them? So just to kind of find information about these people, again, so that they're more than a name and a date. They are people, and they have made us what we are today. Okay, so if you have not done, set up a FamilySearch account and enter all your information. Now, in the next class of this series, we're going to talk more about FamilySearch if you're not familiar with it, and some of the tips and tricks with that. And then we're going to go into how you add other information onto FamilySearch, like pictures, stories, documents. So that is the really, really fun part. When a person, when you can just really round out a person with their pictures and events of their life and even hobbies they had, things like that. But first, we have to set up a FamilySearch account and enter all of the information. And anybody can do that, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or not. If you are a member of the church, you may need to have a member record number, membership record number. So you can get that from your bishop or the ward clerk. So remember, the goal is to have one record for each person to have ever lived on the earth. And that is pretty cool. Okay, so here's learning opportunities. Again, I'm guessing that if you are watching this presentation, you may be a beginner or you maybe need a little refreshing. Well, I want to take you to the best university for family history. It is called the Family History Guide. Put that in your search engine, the Family History Guide, and it will bring it right up. It looks like this. This is a free learning and training center. So if you can see a picture on the top, we have an introduction, FamilySearch, ancestry. Basically, it goes through and teaches you how to use all of these websites. And it's so valuable. I have learned so much from this. And you can find information that you need. If you have questions, you can find a lot of them here. So I encourage you all, it is free. And you go in and they teach you about something, and then they give you a little project to do, which is, just on the computer asking some questions, and maybe you have to find something, but they tell you how to do it. And then you are going to be a pro at doing family history. So I encourage you all to go and to do this, at least do the introduction and the family search if you haven't done others. Before you go on to the others, at least get that done. So I encourage you all to do that. Okay, and so here we are, the BYU Family History Library. We have a lot of learning opportunities here. You can go to our Sunday classes. We have free classes and webinars. So if you can just think of a topic that you want to know about and go to our free classes and webinars, you can search for information about that. And it's likely that we will have a class that will help with that. We also have missionaries at the library and online. If you want to chat with our missionaries online, and they will link up with you, we'll link up with you through Zoom. And we are there Monday through Friday right now. Monday through Thursday is, let me get my time here, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then Fridays are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you have any questions, this is a great place to start. We generally have missionaries like me on staff during those times. And we can either help you face-to-face if we're there, but missionaries right now, we're doing it online. So you can Zoom in, you can use the chat feature, and we will help you get to that. So that is a great place to go. Okay, here's another thing, Roots Tech. If you just put Roots Tech and search for that, there are tons of classes that they've recorded. We did lots of classes this year, and it was free, and everything is all recorded and online. So you can go for free and learn about anything that you want to learn. All right, so here are some things that I think that Emma can put in the chat. Hopefully Emma can. If not, we can get it to you. And this has been recorded. This is being recorded. So feel free to, in the next few days, probably it'll be up, and you can see all of these links here. But I already told you about the Family History Library website and the virtual help desk, our free family history classes. Catherine Grant is one of our wonderful teachers, and she does a basic series on FamilySearch, and does a great job explaining things. So these are just a couple places that you can go.